Hey, what's up guys? My name's Sky, and I'm going to be walking you through this very first heroic raid testing iteration for Eye of the Jailer. The very first mechanic you should understand is Deathlink, which will deal heavy physical damage to its current tank, and the final damage taken is going to chain to 9 random players. It's a 2-second cast. However, it's important to note that the more your tank's able to mitigate and absorb damage from Deathlink, the better it'll be for the 9 random people it chains to and the less damage it will deal. We didn't really find Deathlink to be that scary at all, and it felt like if our tanks were awake and hitting their buttons when it happened, there was nothing to worry about. On pull, and every time you phase the eye, you're going to have to deal with Stygian abductors. The abductors are going to mark a random player in the raid, put a circle telegraph around them, and attempt to chain drag the player off of the platform. To prevent this from happening, you need to have a group of people get in the chain circle, the more the merrier, drop a wind rush, use a druid roar, and simply run away from the edge. This will cause you to drag the ad onto the platform, allowing it to be DPS down and tanked by your off tank. The only thing it does once it's on the platform is jab a little spear in your tank here and there. Piercing Lens is another tank mechanic that's pretty simple. The eye does damage to your tanks here and there. The boss is also going to fire out some eye bolts to random people. It's again just damage that needs to be healed and nothing special to see here. Every 25% health, you will enter the Deathseeker Eye phase. You will have to deal with 2 of these eyes on opposing platforms. The first thing you should know about these Deathseeker Eyes is that they cannot be tanked within 30 yards of each other, or they start casting Suffering every 3 seconds, pulsing shadow damage on your entire raid and increasing your shadow damage taken by 20% for 1 minute. You also have to kill both of these eyes at the same time, due to dying Suffering. Suffering is basically casted every 8 seconds if one eye is alive and the other is dead. Our strategy was pretty simple. It was to split up our raid in 2 and kind of just, hold our horses and communicate and look at the other ad's health and switch accordingly. The 8-second window is pretty forgiving. Desolation Beam is a pretty simple spread out mechanic with a nice visual indicator. Anybody within the circle when it goes off, it will chain to and deal increasingly more damage based on every jump. Simply make sure that your players are awake and spread off of people when you get this circle. It's probably a good force of habit to be spread in this phase since there's no reason to stack, melee included, so that dealing with Desolation Beam is less hazardous. The eye is going to occasionally send out soul shatter swirlies, which you need to avoid. These deal a lot of damage, but more importantly, they split your soul into 3, reducing your movement speed, damage, and healing done until you pick up all 3 of your shattered souls. For whatever reason, the eye wasn't casting Titanic Death Gaze, but this is also just a room-wide blast that your healers need to heal through. The Deathseeker Eyes are also going to be casting Piercing Lens, which is the same ability and damage that the boss does, aka Tank Dam. Simply heal it. The Deathseeker Eyes are also consistently going to cast Spreading Misery. It's another shadow debuff. It doesn't deal that much damage, but when it's removed and when it expires, it leaves behind a pool of Jailer's Misery, which also does a little bit of damage. Simply run out when your debuff is going to expire. Slothful Corruption is a debuff that'll be thrown out on random players. It deals a little bit of damage, but more importantly, it reduces your spell casting speed, your ranged attack speed, and your movement speed by 40%. Simply dispel these debuffs ASAP, prioritize getting healers and casters / ranged DPS, yes, hello hunters with your ranged attack speed, and then melee. When you kill the Deathseeker Eyes, the phase will end, the Eye of the Jailer will come back to the platform, no longer immune to damage, and you can start your phase 2. Phase 2 has all the same mechanics as phase 1, including the Abductor, he's back, time to deal with the chain, but there's one added boss mechanic every time you basically phase this boss, and from here on out, the boss is going to cast Annihilating Glare. Annihilating Glare is pretty fun to deal with. The boss is going to channel a huge beam on one side of the room and sweep it all the way across, and you have to deal with these grappling hooks that are available at the edge of the platforms. Simply have your raid run to the platform that he's not aiming the beam at, and use their extra action ability button to cross over the gap. There's also some other ways you can dodge the beam, such as mages blinking through the beam, soul shaping blinking through the beam, Door of Shadowsing through the beam, AMS and Death's Advancing through the beam. We even found that you could actually Warlock Gateway through the beam, but based on the server's tick rate, you may or may not die, so we don't recommend it. None of this is really necessary, and it's pretty free to just run to the platform and use your extra action button and grapple over. At 50% health, you'll be in the second set of eyes, and they're the same as the one before. Simply kill the eyes, you'll have slightly more pools on the ground to deal with maybe, but just play smart and paint the room well and be spread for those Desolation Beams. Now that you've killed the second set of eyes, the boss is going to come back again, you have to deal with the Abductor again, and it's a rinse repeat from the previous phase. Nothing actually was different from 50 to 25 and 75 to 50, so simply do it all again and dodge that Annihilation Glare. At 25% health, the boss is going to go away one final time and you have to deal with a final set of eyes. Again, nothing is different with the Deathseeker eyes except for the space available in the room, since there'll be more and more pools all over the floor. Now that you've killed the third and final set of ads, the boss is going to come back at 25% health and he'll do one new mechanic, which he'll cast immediately. Immediate Extermination. It's a 10-second cast, and at the end of it, he's going to deal a lot of damage and he's going to increase his attack speed by 50%, but he's also going to reduce the healing that everybody takes by 10% every 6 seconds. This is sort of a soft enrage. The TLDR on this one is hit your lust button, pop your coolies and potions, and GG's. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the subscribe button. You can also find links to all our socials in the description below, including our Discord community server. There you can keep an eye on live content updates, streams, giveaways, or even sign up for our own IMTB weekly Mythic Community Raid and show us what you got.